We begin with big breaking news coming in on Vijay's last film, Jana Nayagan's release. Less than 48 hours to go because remember, the film was slated to release on January 9th, but there's no clarity on whether it's going to happen. The censor board is yet to give its certification. In fact, makers had approached the Madras High Court, but there's been no respite as the Madras High Court has now reserved its order in this case. With 2 days to go for release, looks highly unlikely that there could be any relief that comes in time from the Madras High Court, in which case Vijay's film could be postponed, the release could be stalled. The censor board in the Madras High Court said that now there has to be a review of the film done once again. And so once that is done, there could be a clearance given. It could take weeks, it could take months. Anaga Keshav is joining us live from Chennai. She was tracking all those updates from the Madras High Court. Anaga, take us through really the arguments that played out in the court. What's led to this delay? Because the makers say we submitted the film on time for certification, for clearance, and yet it hasn't happened.
That's right, Akshita. In fact, the makers of the film Jana Nayagan had to make 27 cuts in that film, and despite making that, the CBFC board says that we are still not satisfied, and the film has to go for a round 2 of review. The CBFC has 2 main points. One is that there are certain scenes in that film which has hurt the religious sentiments of certain people. Number 2, according to CBFC, there are portrayals of emblems of the defense forces in that movie, and according to the CBFC, the film must have undergone scrutiny by an expert panel before actually shooting and using that particular emblem, and therefore this film must go under round 2 of scrutiny is what the CBFC says. Another defense that the CBFC gave for this kind of inordinate delay is that the CBFC is a 2-tier system. One is the examination body. If the chairman of the CBFC is not satisfied with the recommendations given in the first round, then the chairman can recommend for a round 2. That comes under the revising committee, which is what Jana Nayagan is currently under. So the CBFC has made its stand very, very clear. Unless and until the revising committee gives the go-ahead for that film, we are not really going to issue a censor certificate, is what the CBFC says. Now, the Madras High Court has reserved its orders. The film was scheduled to be released on Jan 9th, but the court has stated that we cannot rush into giving an order. We need to take our time, and therefore we are going to be reserving the order, is what the court has maintained.
All right, Anaga, we're going to come back to you for those updates. But why does this really prove to be a setback for Thalapathy Vijay? He'd perfectly timed this film for its release just months to go for the election. There's a whole lot of political messaging involved. But let's break down for you why this is a setback. First, that this was supposed to be a big bang Pongal release. It's one of the biggest times of the year in Tamil Nadu, particularly for films for the industry. That doesn't seem to happen, and so that will obviously mean a dent in the film's collections. Now, let's say there's a 1-month delay. Now, beyond that, the Election Commission will also step in because of the Model Code of Conduct, in which case all the political symbolism, the messaging involved in Vijay's film, there'll be a big question mark on whether that will be cleared. And so that will be a challenge for Vijay as well. Vijay had hoped that with this particular film being released, with just about 3 months to go for the elections slated for April, this would give a boost to his political image. He very strategically chose a film like Jana Nayagan. That may not happen based on when actually the film releases. Mind you, also for the makers, there's a big challenge because bookings were opened up. The show was supposed to, in fact, the first show was on Friday early in the morning. Tickets as highly priced as 2,000 rupees, all sold out. What happens to all of those tickets? They'll have to refund people. So again, collections will take a big hit. They expected that everything would go smoothly, but no censor certification. We break down for you also what played out in the court. You had the filmmakers in court saying 500 crores is at stake. We had begged the censor board. We had said very clearly that we are looking at a January 9th release. And that's why we submitted the film way back in December 18th, and yet it hasn't happened. The censor board says that, look, we are in no hurry. What is the process? That will be followed. The film, they say, will be reviewed by a fresh panel, so it's not going to happen immediately. It's not going to be expedited in any manner to meet a January 9th deadline. The filmmakers have maintained that while the entire examining committee saw the film, there was just one member who had an issue. And so their contention is that one member can't override a majority decision in that particular committee. The censor board has maintained that there is no ulterior motive, that this is the process that's usually followed. Ultimately, the film will not be releasing in all likelihood on January 9th. So Vijay's last film, Jana Nayagan, is facing non-stop hurdles. But is this a result of a conspiracy against him, as he is now not just an actor, but a politician too? Jana Nayagan, Vijay's last film and ending his over 30-year-long career, is now unlikely to release on January 9th. Why? Because the censor board is yet to clear it. A film that was submitted for clearance and for certification in December has been stalled indefinitely now, courtesy no green signal from the censor board. So if you're wondering why, the censor board says one member of the examining committee said the film hurt sentiments of a minority community and that the defense emblems were used in the film. What was it that hurt sentiments? We don't know. But Vijay, the team behind the film, they're all left in the lurch because the bookings were opened. The first day, first shows are booked out for Friday. But what happens now? Nobody knows. The makers are demanding answers from the censor board, saying they repeatedly highlighted that the film is to be released on January 9th and yet didn't get the clearance. They submitted the film a good 21 days before its release. The censor board is suggesting that it will now go to a fresh panel and then be re-examined and then get approved, leading to a whole lot of what now? Is this a conspiracy against Vijay the politician? Have the odds been stacked against his film and in favor of Sivakarthikeyan's starrer Parasakthi, which is also very much a film with a whole lot of political messaging? What happens to the film? When will it be released? We don't have any answers. All you Vijay fans, be prepared for what will now be an endless wait. Okay, let's move on now and talk about the other big development that came in from Tamil Nadu. In politics, there are no permanent friends or enemies, only permanent interests. We've seen that repeatedly, evident again in Tamil Nadu. BJP's ambitions in the state are obvious. The AIADMK BJP have tied up. You had Union Home Minister Amit Shah declaring that the NDA would form the government and telling, in fact, the BJP to strengthen the alliance. And we've seen that happening in a matter of days, with the PMK now joining hands with the NDA. The alliance was formalized in those pictures that you see this morning in the meeting between Anbumani Ramadas and Edapadi Palaniswamy. Does this alliance really matter? What does PMK really bring to the table for the NDA? And what's right now happening between the Congress and the DMK? We'll get you all the latest updates in the last 24 hours, and then we'll decode all of those questions for you.
Daggers drawn in the war for Tamil Nadu. The BJP is working on its one-point agenda: crack the Dravidian stronghold. In the 2024 Lok Sabha polls, the BJP failed to open its account in the state with just 11% vote share. This time, the BJP has already sealed a pact with AIADMK for the assembly polls. Now, PMK chief Anbumani Ramadas has announced an alliance with NDA led by AIADMK chief E. Palaniswamy in the state.
The reason for us joining this alliance is to remove the corrupt and inefficient DMK government in Tamil Nadu. ADMK and PMK are a natural alliance. Like in the past, like we have come together on numerous times. So this alliance is going to be a mega alliance, and some more parties we expect to join this alliance.
அனைத்து இந்திய அண்ணா திராவிட முன்னேற்றக் கழகம், பாரதிய ஜனதா கட்சி, பாட்டாளி மக்கள் கட்சி எங்கள் கூட்டணியில் இப்பொழுது இடம்பெற்றிருக்கின்றன. மேலும் சில கட்சிகள் விரைவில் எங்கள் கூட்டணியில் சேர்க்கப்படும்.
The BJP has welcomed Anbumani Ramadas and hinted that more parties could come join the NDA.
BJP being the world's largest political party and ADMK being the party which has ruled Tamil Nadu for the highest number of years, this already is a very strong alliance. And now with the inclusion of PMK, a leader like Anbumani Ramadas, adding extreme value to the alliance, and more parties are expected to join in the near future.
Meanwhile, Chief Minister M.K. Stalin hit out at Home Minister Amit Shah, accusing him of peddling fake news to garner votes.
அவர் அமித்ஷாவா இல்ல அவதூறு ஷாவான்னு டவுட் வருது. இந்து சமய நம்பிக்கைகள் வழிபாட்டு உரிமைகளுக்கு முடிவு கட்டும் வகையில் நம்முடைய தமிழ்நாடு செயல்படுதுன்னு அமித்ஷா அவர்கள் பேசிட்டு போயிருக்காரு. சுமார் 4000 திருக்கோயில்களில் குடமுழுக்கு. அதாவது அவருக்கு புரிகிற மொழியில சொல்லணும்னா கும்பாபிஷேகம் நடத்தியிருக்கோம். நீங்க ஆளுகிற பாஜக மாநிலங்களை செஞ்சிருக்கீங்களா? கண்டிப்பா இருக்காது.
Stalin's attack comes just days after Amit Shah called Stalin's government anti-Hindu.
तमिलनाडु में हिंदुओं के विश्वास के अपमान का सिलसिला इन्होंने चलाकर रखा है। मैं स्टालिन जी को कहना चाहता हूं, हमारे संविधान की मर्यादाओं को आपने हिंदू समाज पर अत्याचार कर तोड़ने का काम किया है।
The X factor in the battle for Tamil Nadu is the TVK headed by superstar Vijay. The race will be decided by how Vijay performs. With Anaga Keshav and Apurva Jayachandran, Bureau Report, India Today.
So the alliance talks within the NDA picking up hours after the PMK Anbumani Ramados met with EPS and finalized, sealed the deal essentially. Edappadi Palaniswamy is in Delhi and is likely to also meet with Home Minister Amit Shah. The idea for the NDA is to get as many leaders together to ensure as many parties come together to be a part of the alliance. They're trying to pitch it as DMK versus others, but the big challenge is in getting some of the bigger faces like a Vijay on board as well. I want to bring in Piyush Mishra, who's joining us live from Delhi. We also have Apurva Jayachandran joining us live from Chennai. Piyush, to you first on what's on the agenda. EPS in Delhi, has he got a meeting with Home Minister Amit Shah?
Well, as of now, the meeting has not taken place. What we are told is that the meeting will take place later in the night. Yes, EPS is in Delhi and he will be meeting Home Minister Amit Shah. And this meeting is very crucial. Why? Because you would remember that Home Minister Amit Shah was on his visit to Tamil Nadu, where he has held meeting with BJP and AIADMK leaders, and after which this pact has been signed, where PMK has also decided to join hands with NDA. After that decision, now EPS is in Delhi and he is going to brief Home Minister Amit Shah about the developments those have taken place. What you're also told is that HM Amit Shah had asked BJP and AIADMK leaders to ensure that there is an alliance firm up by Pongal, so we can expect more parties also to come into the fold of NDA in a few more days. What is more important here, that on 10th and 11th, BJP's National Working President Nitin Nabin is also going to visit Tamil Nadu, where he will be holding various meetings with the other parts of NDA and with senior leaders of BJP. So BJP has started strategizing for upcoming polls, and it is trying its best to get more and more party in its fold.
Okay, let me bring in also Apurva Jayachandran, who's joining us live from Chennai with more updates on this. Apurva, the idea of the AIADMK BJP will be to bring in as many parties as possible into the NDA fold. But as far as PMK goes, look, this is a party that's been ridden with a whole lot of factionalism. The father and son are fighting it out. Why does this really matter for the NDA? What does PMK really bring to the table?
See, the long-standing alliance that is there between PMK and the kind of, politics that they bring into the demographics here in Tamil Nadu, they play quite a major, important, vote bank here in Tamil Nadu. And that's, something that, AIADMK will covet for, and in fact, BJP will covet for when it comes to this particular alliance that we're talking about. Yes, there is the father and son now, who are not on talking terms, and there is the, tussle that is ongoing there. But most importantly, what is to be seen is that, not only is there going to be AIADMK, PMK and the BJP that is going to join into alliance. In fact, EPS has very categorically stated that even, be it the seat-sharing alliances or, which party is going to get, MLAs or MPs or whatnot, should they win the upcoming elections, it is going to be all decided further on. This move by EPS, that is him wrapping up the alliance with the PMK and then going on the very day to Delhi to finalize the further talks with the BJP, is not only a strategic move here, but the BJP also wants the same. Let me remind you, BJP has already, sources do tell us, they're trying trying to look into roping in, OPS and TTV Dinakaran also
Yep.
to, be brought back into AIADMK. Remember, these two, all of them, all of these people fringe, as they are, all of these leaders individually, they do have quite a fair majority in terms of vote bank that we are seeing and the kind of,
Okay.
affinity that people have towards them. So you have EPS and
Yep.
PMK on one side, you have OPS and TTV Dinakaran, which the BJP wants to bring in. It's not
And
the
let's see
AIADMK
if
that
they're
wants to bring
successful,
in.
because that will also largely rely upon how they manage to convince an EPS to bring them on board. But thanks very much, Apurva. Thank you, Piyush, for getting us all of those details. Let me open this up. Joining us on this broadcast now is Narayan Lakshman, senior journalist. We have Apsara Reddy, spokesperson of the AIADMK, Salem Dhanidharan, spokesperson of the DMK. Narayan Lakshman, I'd like to begin with you on what you make of how the alliances are really shaping up in Tamil Nadu, particularly on the NDA first. The fact that PMK has come on board for this particular alliance, does this really make a difference? Ultimately, if you look at how the PMK has performed in the last few elections, they've not really been a game changer factor. So why do you think it matters that they've joined the NDA?
Well, that's a great question. I think certainly they are a party that has had historical significance in the context of the one-year vote in a certain region of northwestern Tamil Nadu, and therefore they remain a major player. Of course, as we've seen in Tamil Nadu, the vote shares as well as the actual seat numbers can fluctuate significantly in the context of this vote swinging between the DMK and the ADMK that we saw, especially during the Jayalalitha Karunanidhi era.
Yeah.
But having said that, the DMK is certainly on a strong footing this time. Of course, people, opposition and others may raise questions about governance and challenges they've faced. But I don't think it would be wise to rule out the PMK as an important player. You never know which way the election is going to turn. So certainly this is if not a massive win or a major win, it is some kind of a win for the NDA alliance that they were able to bring the PMK on board concretely, even though, again, bear in mind the footnote that it's only a part of the PMK, given what you correctly said and your colleagues said about the factionalism and the broken, fragmented party that it is today between father and son.
Apsara Reddy, nice to have you with us on the show after a long time here on Super 6. Good evening to you. The AIADMK, the NDA, of course, believe they're stronger with the PMK coming on board. But there is an opinion constantly that, look, until you bury the hatchet with the likes of TTV Dinakaran, with the likes of OPS, and truly get everyone on board, you don't really stand a chance against the DMK.
See, that's a very popular narrative that has been peddled by the DMK across media. And I think it's been a lot of PR machinery working for the DMK, which is actually setting this narrative, especially social media. I genuinely believe traveling across South India, especially on my journalistic work or as a political spokesperson, to the grassroots, especially Tamil Nadu, there's a lot of discontent with the DMK government, be it women's issues, be it law and order, be it non-deliverance of welfare schemes. So definitely AIADMK and the NDA are on a very good footing. And I think PMK coming is an added advantage. And with regards to factionalism between the PMK, the father and son, I think the Election Commission has made it very, very clear who the symbol belongs to. And I think the might of the party belongs with Mr. Anbumani Ramadas. And you can see the kind of crowds Mr. Anbumani is drawing, and the kind of party workers and party people in positions are with Mr. Anbumani Ramadas. People who can garner votes are with Mr. Anbumani Ramadas. So I think it's a win for Mr. Edappadi Palanichami, sir, that he's brought on PMK on board. And I think the BJP will be very, very, very happy that we're going to bolster the NDA alliance with PMK joining us. And I think more parties, as Mr. Edappadi Palanichami said, will join the alliance. And I think going forward into the frenzy of electioneering, I feel the more of the flaws of the DMK will be exposed. I think the media will start being a little more fair, especially vernacular press has been driving the narrative of DMK being popular, but that's not the case on the ground, because when you work, like I attended the women's conference recently in Kallakurichi, the kind of issues that women had, I don't think people are paying heed to the women's issues. I think largely the women's issues are not, being played up by the media, but there's a lot of issues, whether it's lack of subsidy on gas cylinders to rape, murder, the kind of language DMK people are using on women on public platforms, people in power are using against women. All these have hurt the sentiments. I think it'll work in our favor.
Sure, Apsara, I'm glad you said vernacular media and not national media, but also, on the point of factionalism, you spoke of what's happening in the PMK. What about the AIADMK itself? Again, I come back to the TTV factor, the OPS factor, and the reality being that unless the AIADMK gets all these factions together, which broke away a few months ago, the AIADMK is not one solid faction, not one solid unit.
So AIDMK largely depends on its cadre, which is almost too pro-strong now. And of course, the people of Tamil Nadu who identify with the two-leaf symbol. The two-leaf symbol is with Mr. Edappadi Palanichami. There is no faction because OPS, Sashikala or TTV do not belong to the AIDMK. And their ouster has not really caused any ripples even in their own constituencies or even in their own belts. So I don't think they're considered loyal to the party, B, they're not vote garnering personalities. And I also feel with TTV, he started his own party. So I think he's a separate entity altogether. And I don't think any of these people you mentioned have actually registered any significant dent or can cause any significant dent because they have not registered any electoral victory themselves or any milestones to talk about.
There will be arguments that it splits up the Tevar vote, but I'll bring in Dhurandhar, also spokesperson of the DMK, for his opening comments. Dhurandhar, the PMK officially joining the NDA now, is that a point of cause of concern for the DMK, particularly in North Tamil Nadu, particularly with the Vanyar vote bank?
Good evening to you. Good evening to the fellow panelists. Both of them happen to be good friends, and also to your viewers. So I see PMK has always been either with the BJP or the AIADMK. In the 21, there was a grand alliance, PMK, BJP. They were all together along with the ADMK. So I don't think it was something unexpected. In fact, we are not even conducting any talks with PMK. So it's not a surprise. It was obvious.
There was no talks. There were no talks also with Ramadas Senior.
There is absolutely whoever wants to join our alliance, if they fulfill the ideology, can join. Right. So we are not having talks with anyone because our alliance from 2019 itself is a constant. Right. Like we have the DMK, then the Congress, then the VCK, then the CPI, then the CPM, then MDMK, then therein comes KMMK, and then now MNM has joined. So this is nearly a fixed alliance since 2019. This is the alliance that for 2019, 21, 22, 24 elections and also going to fight the 26 elections. It is the opposition where the alliance has always been fluid. In 21, BJP, ADMK, and PMK, they all fought together. And then 24, because the ADMK and BJP split, what happened was that half of the allies went to ADMK and half of the allies went to BJP. Now ADMK and BJP are together. The PMK was anyways either with ADMK or BJP. Now they've joined this alliance, which was obvious. But the worrying factor is that PMK is now divided, and DMDK has always been either with the ADMK or the BJP, or I think mostly with the ADMK if they've been alone, is now non-committal. We are not sure which side they're going to go. The another fact is OPS, who has been with BJP in 24, is now not willing to join the ADMK BJP alliance. TTV, who was with the BJP alliance in 24, is not now willing to join the alliance with ADMK plus BJP, which means they're losing two vital alliance partner, which is OPS plus TTV. So, which is interesting note. And again, PMK is a weakened PMK now. What vote share, who has, that time will tell. I'm not a I can't foresee. I'm not got to foresee what vote share which party will get. The election people will tell.
No, but Narayan Lakshman, what do you have to say about this? That this is a weakened PMK. This is a weakened AIADMK because of all the rifts and factionalism. So the only chance perhaps they have is to get everyone together. Then it becomes a DMK versus all battle. Do you think so?
Look, part of this is about the electoral math, the various permutations and combinations possible. And we have now literally hit fourth gear for electioneering, and you're going to see a lot of fluctuations. So we in the media especially are cautious, and we don't assume that anyone who's even made an alliance is going to stick with it, or that there are certain people who can never enter an alliance. All these things are liable to change the closer you get to the election. That's point number one. Point number two, let's remember that the math only takes you that far. Beyond electoral math, you also have issues on the ground and performance. So for the DMK, of course, it's about conveying the sense of completing its governance promises, fulfilling them, and delivering good governance for the common man and woman on the streets. That is its main focus. for the NDA combined, for the the BJP, for the ADMK and others. It's about critiquing. It's about critiquing the governance. It's about talking about their own very unique version of ideology within their politics. How will they smooth over any differences that they may have within the alliance? So that is the second aspect, which is going to win or lose people, which is going to win or lose the hearts and minds of the people of Tamil Nadu, who are extremely astute. So no simple electoral math is going to let you, feel very comfortable about a prediction of how this election is going to turn. So I would keep the second factor in mind as well.
So we're talking about the NDA. Let's look at what's happening in Dhanidharan's party, the DMK. We've been seeing a power feud of sorts between the Congress and the DMK playing out. Congress leader Praveen Chakravarti has spoken out, insisting that the DMK must share power in the government with the Congress. So I just want our viewers to listen in to exactly what Praveen Chakravarti said before I take this back to our panel. Listen in to what he said. A Congress leader who's not just talking about the impact that Vijay will have, but also reiterating that the DMK must share power. And he's not the only one who said this. Listen.
தொண்டர்கள் கோரிக்கை அதிக சீட்டு, ஆட்சியில் பங்கு, அதிகாரம். இது காங்கிரஸ் தொண்டர்கள் கோரிக்கை. இது எதுக்கு இந்த கோரிக்கை வைக்கிறாங்க? காங்கிரஸ் கட்சி 60 வருஷத்துக்கு பலவீனமாகவே போயிட்டு இருந்துச்சு. இதை பலப்படுத்த வேண்டிய நேரம் வந்துவிட்டது. காங்கிரஸ் கட்சியின் தமிழ்நாட்டில் காங்கிரஸ் கட்சியின் எதிர்காலத்திற்காக இந்த கோரிக்கை வைக்கப்படும். தொண்டர்களுக்கும் முக்கிய நிர்வாகிகள்.
I'm not sure if you had a chance to listen to what Praveen Chakravarti said, or for that matter, what Manikam Tagore had said a few days ago. Is your house in order?
Of course, it's very much in order. See, in every election, the alliance partners have an expectation. The party that is leading the alliance has an expectation. There's always a mismatch of expectation. That's why we negotiate. And what is a testament to it? Testament to the fact that the DMK's alliance with the Congress has existed for 22 years. Maybe brief fights between 2013 to 2015 where there wasn't alliance. But apart from that, the alliance existed. Every alliance, even BJP, when they were negotiating ADMK in 21, they were asking for 80 seats. Eventually, they agreed to 20. So it is up to the high command of both the parties to decide, and both are mature parties. These are not new parties. The first time they have come together. In the minds of Rahul Gandhi and my chief minister, Congress and DMK are married, and the divorce is not possible. That is what.
Yeah, but these are Congress leaders who are speaking out, Dhanidharan. First. Second is there's a whole lot of speculation that the Congress is in touch with the TVK, and that's what got them so confident now.
Let me be honest here. I am a DMK spokesperson. Apsara is a ADMK spokesperson. Whatever I say, how the alliance should be made, is not going to be made based on that. And whatever Apsara says, the alliance is not going to be based on that. So Congress has 1 crore cadres. They can speak whatever. There are designated specific leaders who will decide on the alliance and what they say and what.
No, you can't. Come on, Dhanidharan. Manikam Tagore is someone who has a year of Rahul Gandhi, who is an MP, who's a member of parliament. But go ahead, Apsara.
Apsara has the years of the EPS. I have the year of my chief minister. That doesn't matter. That it's my job to speak on the alliance.
Apsara, come on.
Right. So
while we try to downplay what the Congress has said, it is a matter of concern for the DMK, and I'm sure my friend Dhanidharan would agree that DMK is in a huddle to kind of fix the frazzled nerves of Congress, because it's not just Manikam Thakur. There are quite a few people who are coming out and speaking from the Congress who are not happy with the DMK governance. There are a lot of people on public stages. It might be played up as a slip of the tongue, but there are a lot of parties, alliance parties, in recent times in public meetings have asked for the DMK government to be. It's time for DMK to be out of power. There are lots of videos on social media from their own alliance partners where they said they want to they condemn the Stalin government. So there's a overwhelming sentiment even among the allies that DMK is going to lose this election, so they don't want to be in that alliance. I think as it plays out in a couple of months, we'll know who sticks with them and who doesn't.
This is the challenge, Dhanidharan. As a result of all that's playing out right now, it's given leeway for the AIADMK, for other parties to question what's happening between the DMK and Congress. And the fact that the Congress is now speaking out, they've never actually pushed for a power sharing deal before. This is the first time they're speaking out saying, look, give us this.
I'm saying, why should the BJP or the ADMK or any other opposition party concerned about what is happening in DMK and its alliance? If at all we stand alone, they should be happy.
No, we're not concerned. We're not concerned at all. It's just an observation that There
No,
are people
no,
coming and
I think
speaking
it's
out.
been
It's a political turf. All of us are political spokespersons. So what we observe, I think, bringing it to the table, which, that's the debate today about alliances and the state of the Tamil Nadu election. So I think it's fair to kind of, bring to the table the observations we've made. Even when we're talking about allies, there are lots of allies of the DMK who are coming in public meetings and saying we want the government to be changed. A lot of people are coming and saying that we're not happy with price rise, they're not happy with women's issues. So it is a public discussion. And we're discussing alliances now.
Yeah, Dhanidharan.
No, the point is very simple. Let me complete my point. The point is any of the high command of any of the parties in which DMK is parties are part of DMK alliance have come and said, no, we are not going to continue the alliance. We are exploring for new options. None. The Congress in charge, set by the high command, has clearly said that the Congress alliance with the DMK will continue. Power sharing or not sharing, it is an internal matter of the DMK and the Congress, which my Chief Minister and Rahul Gandhi and the Congress leader will decide amicably. It is not a discussion of a television. Right? Has anyone come and said, so DMDK has actually now part of
No,
India?
Dhanidharan, these are comments made to the media. These are not comments made to Stalin and to Rahul Gandhi. These are comments made to the media. So there will, of course, be a discourse in the media about what's really happening.
But the whole point is, has DMK reacted anything? Has Rahul Gandhi come and said anything?
Yes, there have been reactions though.
Has Karge,
The DMK has also reacted.
Anything? No, has Karge come and said, no, we want power share? Or has my Chief Minister come and said, we won't give power share? No. Has my Chief Minister said no? Has my spokesperson said no?
Okay.
It will all be decided when the committee to negotiate has been set up and they meet.
Yeah, final word from Narayan Lakshman. Narayan Lakshman, do you think this stems from the Congress reportedly looking at other options, looking beyond the DMK at perhaps the TVK at Vijay? Do you think that's where this demand stems from suddenly?
I doubt it because I don't think it would be a wise calculation to throw their lot in with the TVK. Of course, there is speculation and rumors on that side swirling, but again, in an election time, we should all literally, as I said, gird our loins and hold firm and not make projections and predictions that completely, go the other way. So I think there's no doubt that the TVK is going to play spoiler to a certain extent and possibly eat into the vote share of every major party here. But at the same time, you have to ask the bigger question of, which parties are on a strong footing. I think that the DMK, as Dhanidharan said, has fulfilled certain promises. But as Apsara said, there are also questions that can be raised. So the Congress, to throw its lot in with a newcomer who is just going to be a disruptor, even if a significant disruptor, but a disruptor nevertheless, would be unwise given what Dhanidharan again said about, the long history of partnership that they have enjoyed. And let's not forget that this comes in the context of 1967, where the Dravidian parties and the movement as such unseated the Congress, and there's a deep ideological roots for why the Congress is finding it hard to gain a firm foothold in the state. That needs to be borne in mind.
Okay, interesting times ahead. There's no doubt about that. With elections scheduled in April, lots happening in Tamil Nadu. Thank you very much for your time, Narayan Lakshman, Dhanidharan and Apsara Reddy for joining us. Let's cut across to a news break coming in. Edappadi Palaniswamy is in Delhi, and the news that's just coming in is that he is going to be meeting with Home Minister Amit Shah in Delhi today. That meeting is likely to take place at 9 p.m. tonight, is the information we're picking up. EPS will be holding alliance talks with Home Minister Amit Shah. Remember that the Home Minister had actually visited Tamil Nadu, was in Pudukkottai and Trichy just about 2 days ago, where the message reportedly from the Home Minister to, in fact, the BJP was to expand the alliance, to bring more parties on board. And right after that, we've seen this particular development coming in of the PMK joining the NDA in Tamil Nadu. So this is a very clear strategy as far as, in fact, the NDA is concerned, to get as many parties on board to ensure that, they have larger consolidation taking place across Tamil Nadu. At 9 p.m. tonight, we will track the big takeaways of that meeting. But sticking to news from Tamil Nadu, we've seen this huge storm over what's been happening in Tiruparang Kundram. It's a hill shrine, a temple in Madurai, and we've been seeing calm and devotion mixed with a whole lot of politics. There's been no violence per se on ground. But while on one hand you've had this whole controversy over the Deepam, there's also been other festivals that have been taking place, including the Sandanakud festival. Pramod Madhav gets you this ground report.
A significant moment for Hindu Astha as the annual Santanakud festival at Sikandar Badshah Dargah atop the sacred Tiruparang Kundram hill passed off peacefully. This followed the Madurai bench of the Madras High Court dismissing a plea seeking clarification on its interim order, paving the way for calm and order to prevail.
The Madras High Court Division Bench has upheld the order of the single bench judge, post which there was no kind of any untoward incident that occurred at this spot, and one by one devotees have started climbing this steep hill where we have the Sikandar Badshah's Dargah over at the spot. Very clearly court said that maintaining law and order is the state's responsibility and the state cannot have or act as per political agenda.
Tiruparang Kundram is no ordinary hill. It is one of the Arpadai Veedu, the 6 holiest abodes of Lord Murugan, believed to be the site of his divine wedding with Devanai. At its summit stands the Deepathoon stone pillar, where the Kartikeya Deepam has traditionally been lit. The hill also houses a Muslim dargah, reflecting a layered spiritual legacy that has endured for generations. While both faiths have long coexisted, recent disputes over access and rituals led to restrictions and court intervention.
Since December, that turned out to be a controversy is the Deepathoon, which you could see behind us. There a team of policemen are sitting, and behind us is a place where the Deepathoon is close to 15 meters away from the Dargah's compound wall that the justice had said earlier. That is a distance, and that is why it is of serious issue. That turned out to be a serious issue until yesterday, where the division bench has now also upheld the single judge's order, stating the lamp could be lit, the Kartikeya Deepam can be lit on the Deepathoon, but still now nobody is allowed over here.
Even after the lighting of the lamp, peace prevailed. And the hope remains that faith is not overshadowed by prejudice or politics. And the right to pray is preserved in the land of devotion.
The most important aspect is that the court has said that it has allowed and upheld the order by G.R. Swaminathan, which has stated that Kartikeya Deepam can be lit atop the actual pillar, which is 15 meters away from the spot, and we are standing at this spot, which is behind me, that you could see the Sikandar Dargah, which is atop the Tiruparang Kundram hill at Tiruparang Kundram. With fun, Pramod Madhav for India Today.
Let's move on to what's happening in Karnataka. There's been so much talk of the Game of Thrones in Karnataka between Siddaramaiah and DK Shivkumar. Siddaramaiah has quietly crossed a major political milestone. He is now officially the longest-serving Karnataka Chief Minister. Siddaramaiah has completed 7 years, 240 days as Chief Minister, and therefore has surpassed the record that was held previously by Devaraja Aras of 7 years and 239 days. So by a day, he's now exceeded it. And then, of course, the number of days now going forward will add to that record. Siddaramaiah has called it not a record, but a privilege, and said this is an opportunity to serve people. But the biggest question that comes up now is whether there's going to be a leadership change. There's been a whole lot of talk that the reason Siddaramaiah refused to give in to DK Shivkumar is because he wanted to cross this very milestone of becoming the longest-serving Chief Minister, coupled with also having presented the most number of budgets. So will we see a change of guard in a few weeks from now in February?
ಜನರ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದ ಇರಬೇಕು, ರಾಜಕಾರಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಜನರ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದದಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಇನ್ನೆಷ್ಟು ದಿನ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಮುಂದೇನೂ ಕೂಡ ಮುಂದುವರಿತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಜನರ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದ ಇರೋವರೆಗೆ ರಾಜಕೀಯದಲ್ಲಿ
ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದಾಗಲಿ. ಐ ವಿಶ್ ಯು ಆಲ್ ದಿ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್, ಗುಡ್ ಲಕ್. ಸರ್, ಹೈಕಮಾಂಡ್ ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ಈಗ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿಕೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಗೊಂದಲ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ವಾ ಅಂತ? ನೀವು ಗೊಂದಲ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಗೊಂದಲ ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊಂದಲ ಇದೆ. ಐ ವಿಶ್ ಯು ಆಲ್ ದಿ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್, ಗುಡ್ ಲಕ್.